Hello there. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Wayomi Ute. It's such a joy to come your way this very beautiful morning. How have you been? How was your weekend? And if you're on this part of the world, you are in for a very long weekend. It's such a joy to have every single person joining me live. And for those that will join thereafter or watch after now, a big thank you to you. Thank you for giving me a share of your time. Like I'll always ask, please like the video, share it, and let somebody know that there is something out there called Knocks to Nuggets. So today is July 11, and I want to give a big shout out posthumously to my mommy man. Today he will have been 71, a great guy. His footprints still speak on a daily basis. Thank God for his life. Thank God for all that he's lived for. And thank God for the legacies that he left behind. Today and every day, we remember you, Mr. Emmanuel Olaiwola Adeyemi, popularly known by my friends as my mommy man. Thank you. We thank God for that wonderful life that he lived, wonderful legacies. It's such a joy to remember him. Indeed, sweet is the memory of the righteous. And as I thought about him, our topic for today again comes clear to me. You never know how long you would live. For some, 70, 80, 90, 100, 120, as long as you wish, or the Lord would grant. But the prayer we always will make is that to be in good health, in joy, and in celebration. So when you're going to live that long, what will you be living on? It's food for thought. You won't have the strength that you have now to do all the work that you can do. So the time to start putting something aside that will speak for the evening of your life is now. Well, we'll talk more about that maybe next week. But today we are continuing with Mr. Chris Ebadan. Wow, we're having Dragnet 2.0. And last week was such an amazing time out. If you were here last week, you will agree with me. Pastor Chris is a pharmapreneur with 25 years working experience, is a trader by default with fingers in printing, building, accessories, imports, facility maintenance, pharmacy, and supermarket furnishing. Also into microfinance and investments, training and capacity building, and general enterprise. Wow, it sure has a good dragnet. He's passionate about reading and learning, and currently is the CEO of Salem Pharma Limited, a retail pharmacy outlet in Maitama, Abuja. And last week he was with us. And one of the pattern shots he left with us is, we see things the way we are and not the way things are. So today, help me to receive again on the Knox to Nugget platform, Pastor Chris Ebadan. Great
Good morning,
to have
ma'am.
you. Good
Good
morning.
morning, everyone. Great to be here again this morning.
Thank you. Last week, it was a whole lot food for thought. And we're still talking about increasing your earning capacity. Last week, you laid a lot of emphasis on the mindset. And you said you see things the way you are, not the way they really are.
Things are,
What people call challenges, somebody else calls opportunities. So it really starts
true.
with your mindset. So having sorted out the mindset, have a dream bigger than you, be humble, be hungry. What else do we need to know to increase our earning capacity?
All right. Thanks for having me again, Soyomi. So good to be here. And let's start from something you just said in your introduction, talking about putting things aside for the future. Okay. No matter what stage you are right now, I mean, you may be in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, even your 50s. No time is too late to start. I dare say even your 60s. I have read about men that started their business lives in their 60s and they made a success out of it. So one of the first things that you must learn to increase your earning capacity at whatever stage is that you must also be financially intelligent. Being financially intelligent is knowing all about money. You must know the difference between what are your wants and what are your needs. So many people spend all their earnings on wants, and at the end of the day, they don't have anything to spend on what they need. Everyone wants to please other people, and so everybody wants to show that yes, I have also arrived, and so they spend money that they should spend on their 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 needs, on their want. And so that's one of the first things. You must know what is a need, and you must know what is a want. Another thing you must know is the difference between assets and liabilities. Unfortunately, many of our wants are liabilities. Many people focus on spending on liabilities rather than on assets. What is an asset? An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's the simplest definition of an asset. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Anything at all that takes money out of your pocket and does not make a return is a liability. Some people argue, I've said this in different forums, and some people look at me strange or make an argument. They say, oh, I have a house, when you get a form to fill, and then you have one side assets and one side liabilities. And I find a lot of people always write, oh, I have a house, that's an asset. Oh, I have a car, that's an asset. A house that you're living on is a liability. Once you're living in your own house, you are the one spending money. You're paying all the bills for light, for maintenance. That's not an asset. It's taking money from you. If you have a car and all you do is drive the car from point A to point B and just park it there, it's not bringing money for you. That's a liability. It's when the car or the house, maybe you rent out the house, that's when it becomes an asset to you. And so you must know how to put your money in things that bring money to you. We'll talk more about this as we go on. So you must be financially intelligent. One of the ways that you must be how you become financially intelligent, I mentioned last week about reading, increasing your mind capacity, reading. One other way is traveling. Traveling opens, no matter where. So many of us live in our comfort zones and we become the king of that zone. And we just assume that we are our best. We just live in our comfort zone, think that that is the best that we can be. But travel, that was one of the things that opened my mind. As a young man, the first place I think I traveled outside this country was Ghana. Way back then.
Pastor Chris,
yes,
let me hold you on a bit. Your audio has issues, is cracking. So I'm wondering, are you using an external earpiece? There's a cracking from your end.
Oh.
Sorry, audience, just a second. And it wasn't there before we started. I don't know what's bringing it in. Okay, we'll live with it since you can't find what it is. If you are using an external earpiece, I would have said maybe it's the earpiece.
I've cancelled the echo. Is it better now?
Well, let's go ahead.
Okay, sorry about that. And so, like I was saying, one of the ways that you can increase the capacity of your mind is to travel. I traveled first to Ghana outside this country. That was many years ago. At that time, there was not much difference between Nigeria and Ghana, but it was just a good thing to see outside this country, to see what else is available. And then I went to Dubai. Dubai blew my mind. I saw, in fact, the first thing that came to my mind when I first went to Dubai, I recalled the conversation that Abraham had with God. And the Bible talks about Hagar, that Sarah didn't want Hagar to be around anymore. And Abraham gave her a bottle of water and a loaf of bread. And God made a pronouncement that these people, they would also be strong. And so every time I go into land in Dubai, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. That see what people are doing with a loaf of bread and a bottle of water. And with everything that we have, we are still where we are. There is no time I enter Dubai. Even if you go to Dubai this month, you go the next month, you see something new.
Something new.
And so that challenges you, right? And so travel, get to see things that are not available where you are. That would, for anyone that is willing, that will expand your mind. That will make you want to do bigger things, right? And that will increase your capacity to earn. When you see what others are doing, I mean, go to China. One peculiar thing about the Chinese people, when you see the Chinese, I don't think I've ever seen a Chinese man tall, what you call tall. They're rare, maybe one out of 100,000 or something. And so when you go into China, especially the business districts of China, you see a lot of smallish people, and they're doing amazing things, doing extraordinary things, making money from everything, I mean, everything possible. All right, and they're basically ruling the world and to the rest of the world right now because they've increased their capacity for productivity so much. Virtually every economy is dependent on them. All right, and so you need to travel. You need to increase the scope of your mind. Another thing that you must do to increase your earning capacity is to have a mentor. Have somebody that you model your financial life after. This person has been there, has done it. I'm not talking about motivational speakers. All right, I always say this: somebody with an experience will always win an argument over somebody with an opinion. All right, a lot of motivational speakers, they have opinions. They pick up a book by Brian Tracy, they pick up a book by Jim Rohn, and they come and pour out that book. All right, I always like to ask them questions, but they never answer me. You know, what business have you done? What have you built over the last 20 years? And where is it now? But you know, they make people feel very small in their own eyes, and then they have really nothing. Okay, and so be careful how you follow motivational speakers. Look for somebody that has been there, has done that, and model your life after that person. Learn. You don't even have to know the person personally. The person may have written a book. The person may have a podcast. The person may have an audio series out there. Get that. Read it over and over and over again, and see what the person did that the person succeeded. The good thing about understanding a mentor is that you see the person's failures, you see the person's experiences, you see the person's mistakes, the person's weaknesses, and then you learn from that. Okay, you don't have to make the same mistake that your mentors made. All right, it's a lesson for you. You don't have to fall into the same traps that your mentors falling into, and that gives you an edge. It gives you an edge over what you're, and that's why you will hear. I always hear Big Daddy Bishop Mike say that when he prays for those that are following leaders around him, that they will do 7 times better than him. Why? Because he has gone through all the groundwork. He has seen, oh, don't do this like this, don't do this like that. And so he teaches his leaders and then prays. You will do 7 times better than me because I have been through that. Don't do it like this, do it like this. And so having a mentor is very, very important. You could also volunteer. All right, you volunteer in places. You want to run a catering business, for example. Don't sit at home and say, no, nobody's hiring me. All right, you see a caterer that is doing very well, maybe a big restaurant, maybe a big hotel. Volunteer yourself. You've learned how to cook. You've learned how to put food together, but there's a business about it, and you may not know anything about the business. And that's why so many people start off, oh, they can cook very well, but somehow they don't know the business aspect of it, and so they fail. Right? But if you volunteer, oh, I just want to come here and learn. I want to volunteer my time. I don't have anything doing. And if it's a serious business, a serious person, when they see the value that you bring as a volunteer, they will hire you. Okay, they will pay. Even the basic thing they give you is transportation fare. That is something for you, but you will learn a lot. You will get to learn a lot. All right, another thing I must say, I've seen it ruin a lot of people. Some people have saved money. I've seen, I had an encounter with somebody recently that I felt so sorry for, but I couldn't do anything about it. This person had I think he's in the age of retirement or something. And he was asking me about things to do, and I started giving him some ideas, some things I believe were workable. Okay, and he even came to me, I've decided what to do. I need a loan. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to give you a loan. I'm going to give you something, but it's a gift. And he went and he started a business, and I kept asking, how is it going? And he'll tell me, fine, And I said, okay, I mean, you can argue when somebody tells you fine and doesn't give you any details. All right. But one day he calls me and I'm like, how are you? What's happening? How's the business going? And said that's what he wants to talk about. I said, what's the problem? You always tell me fine. Oh, when somebody starts stammering, that's something wrong. He lost all the money. He borrowed, I think over 2 million from somebody else and lost everything. The only thing I told him, I said, congratulations. And he was kind of upset. What did he do? People, avoid anybody that comes to you that says something like, bring my tool, and you bring your tool, and when you add your tool, you would increase. Avoid people like that. Avoid things that you do not understand, things that you cannot. Oh, bring 1 million in 2 months, you will get 10 million. Come on, look at the person telling you that thing. If he has 10 million, you think that, I mean, would he be looking like the way, and then people just give such people their money and they lose everything. I mean, he lost everything he had saved throughout his working life, and money he borrowed to start something that would sustain him, and he lost everything. I felt so sorry. All I could tell him was congratulations, because when you wanted to start a business, you came to me. You wanted a loan. I advised you, don't start with a loan, and I gave him enough to have started him on. But when he wanted to go into that thing, he never called me. He never asked me, because he knew what I was going to say. Okay, so avoid such Ponzi schemes. Anything that is too sweet, is too fast, avoid it. Let me read a scripture to you. Proverbs 21, verse 5. It says, the plans of the diligent lead surely, not maybe, it leads surely to plenty, but those of everyone who is hasty, surely to poverty. The hand of the diligent, the plans of the diligent will surely lead to plenty. But those of everyone who is hasty for profit, hasty for success, hasty to hammer, it says it always leads to poverty. Let me read it in Message translation. It says, careful planning puts you ahead in the long run. Hurry and scurry puts you further behind. And so you think you're going forward, but you're actually going backwards. Hurry and scurry. You want to compete with those. You don't have any competition, my brother, my sister. You are your own competition.
Absolutely.
Set the stage, write your standard, and then pursue your plan with all the strategies, by the help of God, that you get. Another scripture in Proverbs 13:11 says, wealth from get-rich schemes quickly disappears. Wealth from hard work grows over time. Wealth from hard work grows over time. But from get-rich quick schemes, they disappear. You just find out that you wake up in the morning, because it comes easy. It goes easy. All right. Another thing I'd like to talk about, increasing your earning capacity, is that no matter how much you have, my brother, no matter how much you have, my sister, make sure your money is working for you. All right. There's a reason it is called currency. It is not supposed to be put under a pillow, under the bed, doing nothing. Currency must flow. When you see a river or a collection of water that is not flowing, it is called a Dead Sea, and it just accumulates dirt and begins to smell. That's the same thing with money. When you do not put your money in a place where it is growing, where it is working, it grows stale, it becomes dead. Last week we talked about inflation rates and all that. I was discussing with someone during the week. I read the data that was brought up by an independent body, and the argument is that this inflation that the government is talking about, 17.7, is not realistic, and I totally agree with them. All right. If you see the price of diesel today compared with just last year, you see the price of foodstuff. Diesel increased over 300%. Foodstuffs have virtually increased over 200%. And then he was telling me that inflation is just 17. It's not
17%.
possible. And so inflation, the real inflation rate for Nigeria right now, I mean, it's nothing less than maybe 50, 55, or even 70. In fact, the organization posited that inflation in Nigeria should be about 74%. So imagine taking your money, putting in a savings account that the bank is giving you at 3 or 4%, and you're thinking, oh, I'm getting something at least. You're getting nothing. You're actually losing money. Find something, no matter what it is. You work in an office, a public office, a private organization, and then your MD or the top management, they receive visitors. They have to give water. And then you notice that every week, procurement makes maybe 10 cartons of bottled water. That's an opportunity for you. Why don't you become the one to supply the water instead of always, see free water, let me be drinking water even if I don't get anything. That's a mindset of poor people. All right, take. What value can you add in that office that will put money in your pocket? All right, no matter, always find a way to increase whatever God puts in your hand. As a young man, one of the first lessons I learned to told myself and people that are close to me, they know that if you dash me 1,000 naira, if I receive 1,000 naira, no, I'm using 1,000 naira very deliberately. I tell myself, until I can increase that 1,000 naira by 10%, I don't have permission to spend it. And so if you give me 1,000 naira, until I can put it into something that brings back 100 naira, I don't have permission to spend, no matter how desperate the situation is. You must find a way to increase your money. One other thing, apart from knowing the difference between assets and liabilities, between wants and needs, another thing you must know the difference is between what is seed and what is harvest. God is the one that gives seed. He's the one that gives harvest. All right. Bible says seed time and harvest will never cease on the face of the earth. I like to read that scripture as 3 separate words: seed, time, and harvest. All right. When you plant a seed, there is a space of time, and then there is a harvest. You don't plant your seed, certain seeds today, and expect in the evening that a harvest will come. No, you must be patient with your seed. All right. And so you must take whatever you have, no matter how small. I always use an example as simple as sachet water, what we generally call pure water. All right. The last time I checked, I think they said the price has increased to about 200 naira now. But let's assume that it's still 100 naira. A pack of it is 20 sachets inside. Mm-hmm. And each sachet, you probably buy it at 5 naira or 10 naira or 20 naira, whatever the current price is. But the truth of the matter is that every pack you sell, you always double your investment. And so if it's just sachet water you are selling, you can double your money. One of the best principles you can learn to increase your capacity to earn is the principle of compounding. It affects every area of your life. In fact, Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds, if not the greatest mind that ever lived, said compounding is the greatest miracle that earth has ever seen, apart from the miracle of Jesus Christ. That's what Albert Einstein said. All right. What's the principle of compounding? The principle of compounding is the principle of seed time and harvest. Okay. No matter how small what you have in your hand, it is a seed. Know what is seed and know what is harvest. Know what is seed and know what is bread. So many of us are eating our seed as bread. You are in your house. There's no money. You're praying to God. God, I need money to start business. I need money to start business. God is not going to send you money from heaven. The Bible says He gives you the power, the ability to get wealth. And so maybe God just sends somebody, the person calls you, God puts your name in the person's heart, and the person sends you 100,000 naira. All right. The first thing people want to do, thank God, I want no food in the house. I need to buy that dress for that program in church next Sunday. All right. You didn't have that 100,000 yesterday. God brought it into your hand today, and the first thing you're thinking about is spending. That 100,000 came as a seed, and you can use that 100,000, multiply it, even if it is to multiply it by just 10%. Then you have something to spend. Let me tell you how compounding works. I recommend for anybody that has not read the book. It's not a finance book, so to speak. It just tells you the impact compounding, little things, little habits, how it affects your life. If you can tithe, you can compound. All right. If you you've learned the principle of tithing from 1 naira, giving will not be a problem for you. Investing will not be a problem for you, because tithing to me, I mean, I don't see it as that. Of course, I tithe because I love God and I want to tell him, acknowledge him that he's my source. But I've seen over the years that it's an investment. When you, I remember someone said, when you tithe, you clear the field. When you give, you plant on the field that you've cleared. And so a harvest will surely come. Okay, let me tell you the principle of compound. That's the richest men in the world. Whether, no matter what is there, that's what they use. If you start with one, the number one, as little as number one is, and you double it 20 times, you will have 1,048,000. What do I mean by that? You take one. When you double one, it gets you two. When you double two, it gets you four. When you double four, it gets you 8, 16, 32, 64. You know, you do that 20 times, you will get 1,048,000.
Wow.
Do that with any amount, man. If you do it with 10 naira, it gets you 10 million at the end when you do it 20 times. When you do it 100 naira, it gets you 100 million. And so that 10 naira in your hand can make you earn 10 million. That 100 naira in your hand, my time maybe 5 years, your own time maybe 10 years. But when you start with one and you are able to track that one 20 times, it will give you a million. Let me give you an example. A couple of years ago, maybe like 12 years ago, I just woke up one morning and I felt like changing my wife's car. So I went to Hyundai and they showed me a Hyundai Accent, a small car. I think it was like 1.8 million. But they didn't have one in Abuja. They said they were going to send it from Lagos and it will come in 2 weeks. I said, okay, I'll get back to that. As I was driving, I was like, how much should I buy a car? 1.8 million. Like I said, this was like 12, 13 years ago. And I told myself, okay, since I decided to buy the car, if I'm going to spend 1.8 million, I could as well buy bigger and better car. So I drove to Costaris. I got to Costaris and went to their showroom, saw a small Ford EcoSport that I liked, and asked for the price. It was 3.7 million. I'm like, wow, can I afford to buy? Do I have money to buy this car? Yes, I had enough money to buy it, but could I afford to buy it then? I said, well, I didn't plan budget for this. So I just remembered a friend of mine that had an encounter with the MD of Costaris. So I called him and I said, I remember you told me you know the MD of Costaris. I need a favor. I mean, Costaris Abuja right now. Can you just call him? I need a car. I've seen one I like it's 3.7 million. Can you ask him for a discount? He said, how much am I asking for? I said, let him knock off the 700,000 on top. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. I said, bros, your own is messing. Just ask him. You don't know what he will say, you know? So I dropped the call. Less than 5 minutes, he calls me back and said, I don't know if it's just you put in your mouth. The man, I just told him, and he said, my brother wants to buy cars in your office. And he said, go and meet the plant manager. He's waiting for you right now. Knock up the 700,000. I went up. And as I entered the man's office, MD just called. And he said, we should give you 700,000. I sat down there. I'm like, wow, God, this grace, I must use it well. So I went back outside. I told the man to give me 5 minutes. I called my friend back. I said, you know what? Please call him again. That I have the 3 million, no, but I want to pay 2 million and then give a positive check, 6 months positive check of 1 million. And I would not fail. He said, that's impossible. No business. I said, bros, I've told you before, your own is messenger. Just call him. If he says no problem. He has already given me 700. And he said, okay, I'll call him. And so he calls him and he calls me back and he was speechless. Bros, what did he say? Whether he says no, I'm okay. He said, you know what? I told him and he said, no problem. As long as it's your brother, let him give them the 2 million check and consider check for 6 months. You know what I did? I took that, gave them the 2, and he said I could take the car. So it's not like I was going to come and pick the car in 6 months. I drove the car out of the place. You know, I took that 1 million. At that time, I started my importation business. There's this particular product that was just coming into the market, and a lot of people were looking for it. And so I took that 1 million and invested it in that product over 6 months. Had a dedicated account that, okay, let me see what will happen. in 6 months with this 1 million naira. But so believe it or not, at the end of 6 months, that account had more than the money I paid for the whole car. So it was like as if I didn't pay anything for the car. All right. Why? Because I took that seed, multiplied it over time. But so many of us are so much in a hurry. You want to compete. Let me give you another example. This is just about experience so that you know what to do. A young man came to me, I think that was 2008. He works in the bank. And he said he wanted to borrow money, that the bank was giving out loans to buy a car. And I said, why do you need to buy a loan for a car now? You have a car. And he said he wants to buy a new car. This car is old. I said, no, let me tell you why he wants a new car. You're seeing your mates in quotes. Oh, and you come to church every Sunday. Somebody's dedicating a car. You see the best ad. What does the person have that I don't have? I said, I see you every day. You're a banker. You take your car, you park it in the car lot, and you use your official car throughout the day, and you drive your car home. So you don't need a new car. And curiously, I just asked him, how much would you pay for that car every month if you took that loan? And he told me 100,000 every month. I was a little surprised. Like I said, this was 2008. And I asked him, so you can move 100,000 from your salary every month and still survive? He said yes. And he told me his salary, as at that time, his salary was about 3 times of that. And I said, wow. I said, well, you came to me, so this is my advice. If you can afford to pay the bank 100,000 every month and you would survive, you know what? From today, assume you took that loan. Don't take it down. You don't need that car. You and I know you don't need the car. Put that 100,000 aside for the same length of time that you are going to pay the loan. And then one day you'll have enough money to do whatever you want to do without buying that car. He listened to me. He didn't buy, he didn't take the loan. And tell me, a year later or 2 years later, I can't remember, that this young man came to me and said that he took my advice last time. But now he has learned his lessons. He saw a piece of property in one of the satellite towns in Abuja. And that money.
Wow. I think we're losing your sound. You muted. Your mic is muted. Okay. Oh, it went back again.
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Okay. And so he saved that money over that period of time. And I came and saw a land in an estate he wanted to buy and needed me to, of course, because he heeded my advice, I gave him the balance. He bought the land. That young man, that house is his second house, I believe now. He has bought a bigger house. In fact, he left the bank when he started putting those principles to work. He resigned from the bank and focused on business. And now he's multiplying money in the millions. All right. And so you must learn that principle of compounding. When you compound money, no matter how high inflation is, as long as you are multiplying money, like I said, start from 10%. If you can remove your tithes 10%, remove another 10%, put into whatever you're passionate about. One thing I don't do is that somebody comes to me, oh, I have 1 million naira, I don't know what to do with it. I don't give any such advice, because I found out over time, if you tell them, oh, go and invest in baking or something, once it fails, they blame you that you gave them bad advice. No, you must be passionate about something. There must be something that you're passionate about, you want to do. What I would do is to guide you so that you don't lose all the money. I always teach people, start small. If you have 1 million naira and that's all you have, don't put the whole million. Test with 100,000. See how far you go. Test with 200,000. See how far you go. And that's why, as much as possible, I didn't learn like that. I told you last week, I learned by watching my dad. I never saw him borrow money. All right. When some people, oh, I want to grow my business, you may not have the customers for that growth. Why don't you work with the 10 people that you have? And then with the 10,000 you have, once you get to a point, nobody will tell you to expand. The business will just expand itself. All right. I've seen businesses start in one room, and at the end of the day, they buy the whole building. Why? Because they were consistent. Learn the principle of compounding. Take one seed, double it, 20 times. No matter what you started with, you will be in the multiple of millions at the end of the day. I know time is running. We'll never have enough time for for things like this. But I want to encourage somebody: start now. Don't wait. Don't say, "Oh, when I get 100,000, I will start." That 1,000 in your hand now can make a difference. 1,000 in your hand. There are people around you. The last census for Abuja, I think, was 2016, and unofficial figure says there are 6 million people in Abuja. Okay, it may be more than that, it may be less, I don't know. But the truth of the matter is that the same needs those 6 million people have, that's the same need you have. You wake up in the morning, you have a need for food, you have a need for soap, you have a need for toothpaste. Those same 6 million people have the same need. If you have 1,000 naira and you say that what you want to invest to 1,000 naira is save food, let us assume basic minimum that everybody eats basic minimum 300 naira per meal, and that's 900 naira per day. Even if the person eats only once a day, that means in Abuja every morning 1.8 billion naira is looking for an opportunity, or who will put 300 naira food in their hand and they exchange with that 300 naira. You stay in a community. All right. There are a lot of people that are at home right now because they don't have jobs, but they must eat. All right. Some of them are laborers. Some go work in the day. They get 500 naira, they get 1,000 naira, and all they do with that money is eat. Why don't you be the one that set up a small kiosk or something? Even from, I go around sometimes, I see in front of plazas, a woman just brings her car, packs, opens her boot, and she's selling food. And you see the crowd of people that are lining up to buy food. But some other people have the same car, and all they do is complain. There's no fuel, there's no this, there's no that, and they remain in the same place. Why don't you be the one? Take food, take toothpaste, take soap. I will provide soap for the whole of this community for this month, for this year. All right. Like I said, be a jack of all trades and a master of one. Know where you're going to. All right. Have a dream for your 20 years from now, for your 50 years from now, for your 30 years from now. But the road that you may take there may be several roads. When you get to a particular point, brothers and sisters, I did this 25 years ago. I have physical evidence for it, where I wanted to be in 10 years, where I wanted, and I'm talking of in my finances. One thing that I know, especially when God is your source, God will wow your expectations. If you ask for 1, God will give you 10. If you ask for 10, He will give you 100. There's a place you get to, my brothers and sisters, if you will just be consistent or follow some of these principles. There's a place you get to, no matter what the economy is saying, no matter how hard the economy, as long as there are human beings living around you, as long as people have needs, you will be settled. Okay? Right now, because of these things I've done over time, like I said, you mentioned something when you were introducing me into microfinance. It's not like I run a microfinance bank, but there are people that are not where I am now. All right, they have businesses, they have things that they're doing, but finance is a challenge, and they come to me and I sit down, have a chat with them. I invest in their businesses. Their businesses I've invested in that every month, what they bring into me, some people don't earn it in a year. That's the truth. All right, it's what I earn from just putting investments here and there. Some people don't invest it in 2 years. I mean, don't get it in 2 years. What I get from one business in the year, in a month, it's enough for me to just. When I was writing my plans and my dreams, I told God, I want to retire at 50. I want to stop doing active business at 50. I just want to sit and watch my investment, my capital bring in funds. I can sit down and do nothing now, and I will never be hungry. That's the truth, and that's because of the trust I have in God, and because of the things that I listened to and I did over time. All right, and so you can do the same, and you can even do it better. It is not about what you don't have. The small cruise. Look at Switzerland, man. Switzerland does not grow cocoa, but they are they produce the best chocolate in the world. They don't grow cocoa. That should tell you something. It's not about what you don't have. The prophet came to the woman. What do you have in your house? The woman said nothing, but this small flour and cruise of oil. And he said that is enough. What do you have? 5 loaves, two fishes. Jesus Christ said that is enough. And so whatever it is, that you may not have a job, but somehow from your last job, maybe an uncle sent you 10,000 naira, maybe somebody just dashed you 5,000 naira from church yesterday. All right, that is your seed. Find where to plant that seed, and over time grow that seed. You will be hungry. You will do without sometimes. Okay, I did without. There was a time I was wearing only second-hand clothes. Yes, I did. I was a pharmacist. Could I afford to buy new clothes? Yes, I could. I had the money to, but because of where I was going to, because of the dreams that I had, I knew there would be time. I don't even need to buy clothes right now. If I don't buy any new clothes in the next 1 year, I will not lack clothes. And so have that dream that is bigger than you. Let that dream propel you. There must be something that you're looking at that is bigger than you, that gives you a conviction to make you wake up in the morning and go all out to do whatever it is you have to do, as long as it's legal, as long as you can go to bed and you sleep very well. You're not afraid that somebody is chasing you. And so, like we said last week, remember, hope is not a strategy. All right? There must be something that you are doing. Wishing that tomorrow, wishing that God, wishing is not a strategy. Wishing will only get you frustrated. All right? Just find something to do. Sit down, get a mentor, get somebody you trust, get somebody. See, you will make mistakes, so you will lose money. If I tell you there's some investments I've even made this year that they're not producing, I've not lost everything. I'm just hoping that I get back my investment. So you will make mistakes, but mistakes are for you to learn. There's something I say, because you're a Christian, because you're a child of God, have this mindset: heads or tail, you win. Heads, you win. Tail, you learn. All right, and you learn so that you won't make the same mistakes later. Somebody, I think one of the best coaches in the world, James Wooden, said something. He said things work out best for those who make the best of how things work out. All right, so no matter how things are working out, make the best for it. Don't complain. Like I said last week, wherever you are, if you are complaining that it's not working, look around you. Somebody is working it, and it is working for the person. So if it's working for the person, God is not partial. It will work for you too. But you need to be committed to it, and you need to be consistent. Let me stop talking so that
Thank you so much. While you were talking, I was just taking notes because you said a whole lot. And one of the things I want to leave with our audience today, one of the things I want to leave with our audience today is, wherever you are, wherever you find yourself, understand something. What you have in your hand is enough. That's the truth. What you have in your hand is enough. He has said so much. I want to encourage everybody on this call. Please like this video, share it, let somebody else listen to this. It's so rich. We can increase our earning capacity by putting these principles to work. We've taken quite a bit of your time this morning, but I'm sure it's for a good cause. And I know that next week, Monday, we'll be drilling down to the various parts of businesses, the various things you could do. And from next week, we'll start having different people again coming in to share their stories in various aspects of business. And I really pray that you follow us on this Dragnet journey, because I know that by the end of the day, you'll be better for it. Thank you so much, Reverend Chris. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the huge resources that are made available to us. Last question before I let you go. You talked about a book on compound interest. What is the name of the book?
well, like I said, it's not on compound interest. The principle of compounding by Darren Hayden. The principle of compounding, I think so, by Darren Darren, Hayden, Hardy. It just teaches you to form little habits that grow, that no matter what the habits, it may be habit of waking up habits. And the thing I like about the book is that it also tells you the consequences of not putting those little habits to work. How little things affect your relationship. How little things make you poor, or how little things make you rich. Right. So it's basically a life principle book, not just about money, but it affects every aspect of our life. And it's a book to study, not just to read and say, I've read this book. You can spend the rest of this year just picking nuggets from that book, and it would really, really have an impact in your life.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
Thank
resources.
you,
Thank
man.
you for sharing your story. Are going to be vulnerable. Thank you and have a wonderful,
Thank
wonderful
you so much, man.
day ahead.
Thank you, man.
Wow, 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 wow. That was simply amazing. 45 minutes of so many nuggets, so many things to learn from this time out with Pastor Chris Ebadan, talking about how to increase your earning capacity. Remember, it starts with your mindset. And he said so many things. I don't want to start going through all of it again. But the thing is said that I want to repeat is that it is never too late to start. Never. You may be 30, 40, 50, even 60. It's never too late to start. Stop thinking of starting. Simply start. And your story will be told in a few short years from now. 3 years, 5 years from now, you'll be amazed at what you have achieved. And like I always say, if you can think it, you can be it, and you can have it. And don't forget, next week, Monday, we'll continue on this business opportunity journey. What can you do to make money? What can you do to make extra income? We'll take it a bit further next week. And I want you to please remember to join me Monday, 7:45 on YouTube, on Facebook, or LinkedIn. And until I come your way next week, Monday, don't ever forget it. Together we win. God bless you. Have a wonderful holiday if you're in Nigeria. And wherever you are, part of the world, have a wonderful week ahead. God bless you. Bye for now.